Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my video. So, my truck is having issues right now. Um, I spent the last 45 minutes trying to get this truck started, and it's not doing anything. So, it's not kicking on. It's not cranking over. It's not cranking at all, actually. All I'm getting is nothing. I mean, so basically, I'm at this hotel right now. And parked it, went to my room for say a couple hours, came back out, tried to start the car, get something to eat, and nothing. So I'm getting, getting nothing actually. Everything works on the car. Everything, all the lights on the dash seems to be fine. The radio works. You know. The blower works, the blow motor works, everything works, except all I'm getting is a click. I'm just hearing a click. So basically, I did a little bit troubleshooting. I went out, looked at, turned the headlights on, checked out the headlights, and the headlights are really bright, just really, really bright. And I was like, man, originally I thought maybe it's the battery, maybe I left the lights on or whatever. But I'm pretty sure I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Anyway, just to be sure about it, I did get somebody to try to jump the car for me, and got the car jumped. Didn't do anything. Had the cables on the battery for about a minute. Originally, I had tried to jump it as soon as it hooked up, but then I waited a couple of minutes and tried to turn over, and it didn't do anything. It did the same thing. So at that point I knew it wasn't the battery. The battery was fine. And prior to that, I did try to start it like about 10 times. Nothing works. And so it's not the battery. Obviously it's not the battery. So it's definitely, at this point, it's not the alternator either. Because I had situations where the alternator went out, and normally my car's running, and my car's running and stuff like that. It's always, alternators die out on you when your car's running for the most part. But just in case, if you had to do a test on it, once you put cables to it to jump it, it should jump as long as you have the cables on the battery. Once you take the cables off, the car would die out. That's when you know it's the alternator that's the issue. But none of that stuff happens, so the alternator is not the problem with this. It's not the battery, it's not the alternator. So I'm left with a couple of thoughts on this. So more troubleshooting. I thought maybe it would be a fuse or a relay, but then if I try to troubleshoot that, and could it be the relay? I mean, normally if you hear a click coming from the starter, normally when you do hear that click, when you try to turn it on, you hear a click. Normally it's the solenoid on the starter firing off. So if the solenoid on the starter is firing off, you know for a fact that it's definitely not the relay that's a problem, because the relay is primarily, the relay relays the electricity from the battery to the starter. If you hear a click, it means that electricity is getting to the starter. It's just the starter's not running. So I pretty much ruled the relay out. I can pretty much rule the relay out. I'm like 99% sure it's not the relay. So my last thing that I could think of, the last thing that I could think of as far as, common sense things, as far as, cars having issues starting and stuff like that, not cranking, would be a fuse. Now, I'm thinking it could be the fuse, but I don't think it is the fuse. Reason being, I don't think it's the fuse is because, so I've had a couple issues with fuses before, where the fuse blew, my car wouldn't start. But the two issues are kind of different as far as the symptoms were concerned. Basically, the previous issues that I had with fuses, as it pertain to situations like this, is I had like a main blown fuse where nothing on the car I had like nothing on the car, like no electricity on the car at all, nothing on the dash, nothing. It was like as if somebody took the cables off the battery and I had no electricity going through the car whatsoever. That was one situation. I solved that by changing up the fuse, and then everything started up just fine without a problem. But that's not the problem here. So the other situation I have with the fuse is, it cranked up, but it wouldn't turn over. It kept on cranking, it wouldn't turn over. I could crank it, it wouldn't turn over, cranking it wouldn't turn over. Now that situation, there could be like a lot of reasons causing, a lot of different reasons for that situation. One of it would be the fuel pump, a computer related issue, a fuse, and that situation it was the fuse. But this situation is like totally different. It's not cranking, but all the lights and everything else works. So I'm guessing at this point that it's the starter that's causing it, considering that the starter on this car is the original starter that I've had. So I'm pretty sure it's the starter at this point. I mean, I can't really test it out any other way at this point besides guessing that it is the starter, seeing as how I ruled out all the other stuff that could cause this situation. So I'm pretty sure it's the starter. I did call AAA up, and pretty much I'm just waiting for AAA to come and to come and tow my car back so I could get the starter changed up if it is the starter. But I'm pretty sure it's the starter, and get myself back on the road again. But all right, guys, so I was able to figure out what it was, and it was my initial thought that it was the starter, and that was the problem. So I had it towed, had a new starter popped in, and it's turned on great without a problem. So it definitely was the starter. I went out and I actually bought a brand new starter. I mean, so I mean, I don't want to go on and on about starters and stuff like that, but a refurbished starter is like 150, around 150, 175, and then the new starter is like 300, 325. But I actually put some money in the new starter because I've had issues with refurbished starters and alternators and like that before. But I'm glad I got that worked out. If you guys have any comments, any questions, please leave your comments, questions. Please give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe, guys. All right, take care.